Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, I'm KingNido and we are here for Game 3 in the first ever round of the PokeType League TCG, as it is the Melemele Rumbles hosting the Levere Constrictors, and as always in these matchups it is a best of 3 as the 3 decks will go head to head, and even if a side wins those first 2 games, that third game will still count towards the leaderboard, so teams will need to maximize that damage. But with that said, let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win this matchup. Will it be the fighting types? Will it be the psychic types? Let's go!
3, 2, 1, go!
And it is going to be that Rocky Boulders deck starting out for the Rumbles, as they have that Mienfoo and Geodude in their hand. They have put the Geodude in the active spot. That Mienfoo is going on the bench. It's Golurk going into the active spot as the only basic Pokemon for the Levere Constrictors. And the Melemele Rumbles did flip heads, so they are going first. They're not going to be able to put that energy down, but they have taken another Mienfoo out of their deck and thinning that deck a little bit more with their Professor's Research. They already have a Graveler and a Golem in their hand, and a second Mienshao as well, so those Mienfoos will be getting set up shortly, as it is going to be Golurk being pulled from the deck. Sorry, I said Golurk before being put in the active spot, but that is a Golurk. As also Mewtwo has been taken out of the deck, and also that Golem, that's the genetic Apex Golem. So the Melemele Rumbles have one of the genetic Apex, one of the mythical island Golems, but that one that's in the hand is the one that gets the recoil damage, and they've withdrawn that supporter Brock as well, so that is great. They can start setting up that Graveler soon to be evolved into Golem, but it looks like they're thinking about it. Oh, it looks like they may want to get some early damage onto Golem here. They're clearly taking their time. They want to make that right call. They can evolve those 2 Mienfoos with the Mienshao, so it's easy to set them up because it only takes 1 energy to get the damage off those cards. And they're still contemplating whether or not to put that Graveler out, these early game choices, because if they can get all that damage from that Golem, it will be so hard to take down. There is that Mewtwo on the bench for the Levere Constrictors, as Geodude is going to do that 20 damage, and another Professor's Research for the Levere Constrictors. They're immediately going to play that card, so they're not going to be worrying about that Giovanni, but it takes 3 energy to be able to do damage with that Golem. They're going to play that Mythical Slab that they've just taken out. They got the Rolts, and it's a Mythical Slab in the next spot, so that is going to go onto the bottom of the deck because it wasn't a Psychic type card, and they are still setting up that Mewtwo. And just to add a bit more health, they are going to evolve that Golurk into Golurk. It's got 120 health remaining, as it is going to go back to the Melemele Rumbles, and they've taken out the Mythical Island Golem. Surely that is going to be the one they're going to want to use, because it will have that reduction in damage once it gets off that 120 attack, as the second Giovanni being taken out of the deck for the Levere Constrictors. Now, they need the Curlier so that they can get that Gardevoir onto the bench. And they can use that supporter, but it would have been useless. They've got another Graveler coming out of their deck through the Melemele Rumbles, and they are ready to set up this Golem and absolutely run through the Levere Constrictors, because they get that 3rd energy. That Brock is going to be able to get a 4th energy for them from the energy zone, and now Golem can be unleashed with that guard press. 120 damage. It is going to take Golurk out, massive damage, but now it's going to take 30 damage or less from any attacks it takes. This is terrible for the Levere Constrictors in game 1. There is going to be so much damage coming from that Golem. It will one-hit knock out any remaining Pokemon for the Levere Constrictors, who have just gotten their second Mewtwo. They're going to be able to get some damage off with their first Mewtwo. They're going to play the Giovanni just to try and maximize that damage, as there will be that negative 30 being done here. So it's only going to do 100 damage in this move. It loses those 2 energy, but that doesn't really matter at this point. This Golem is about to wipe Mewtwo off the board and out of that active spot, as the Rumbles can now start setting up those Mienshaos and using a Giovanni of their own to maximize their damage. They knew that they'd take out the Mewtwo, but that extra 10 could be crucial. It could get them into Victory Road at the end of regulation season. They've got their second point in this game 1. Now the Levere Constrictors are going to use that Rolch. You have to think they're just going to try and get their own damage off here, but it's not actually going to work, because it cannot do enough damage even with that 10, that negative 30. This will only get it to 20 by playing that Giovanni, so it is still going to do 0 damage to Golem here, but they're still trying their best just to get that damage off. Golem tanking that move, taking not even a scratch. They do take out the Pokeball, but they don't have to worry about it. That guard press getting another 120 damage onto that roll. It's absolutely obliterated in game 1 for the Melee Rumbles in their debut here against the Olivia Constrictors, also debuting as this is the first ever season for the PokeType League TCG, but we are into our game 2 now. And the Olivia Constrictors get the coin flip. They want to get the game as well. They do not want to lose this in straight sets. They are starting out with their Twisted Spoon deck where they have the Alakazam and Kadabra already in hand, putting that Abra in the active spot. The Melee Rumbles putting Mankey into the active spot whilst putting Hitmonlee onto the bench, and that is the promo set A Mankey, so it will get that 10 recoil damage for the damage it'll do. And they don't have that genetic Apex Primate in hand yet, as it is the Professor's Research for the Olivia Constrictors. They've got 2 in hand, so they're going to play that first one, start thinning that deck nice and early. They get a second Kadabra, and they also get a Haunter. They're going to want to have some Pokemon on the bench just to try and keep them safe here, as the Melee Rumbles take out a Sandshrew from their deck, playing their Professor's Research as well. They get a second Sandshrew, and they get a Pokeball, so they're going to get another basic Pokemon already, getting that other Mankey, the one from Mythical Island that they have. So when that tries to do damage, they will flip that coin to see if it can get 50 damage off. Quite powerful. But here we go. They are setting up that promo A Mankey. But no, they are setting it up, sorry, but they're thinking about what to do. They've placed the other Mankey onto the bench as well as one of the Sandshrews. And with that Reckless Charge, they get that 30 damage onto Abra, but there is that 10 damage being put onto Mankey. Now, fortunately for the Olivia Constrictors, as they've just pulled their second Alakazam, they're going to play the Professor's Research, but Mankey will not be able to finish Abra off because they have that Kadabra in hand. They're going to play the Mythical Slab for a second game in a row, and again, it's the Mythical Slab waiting directly behind it, so it does not pay off 2 games in a row. They're going to put the Ghastly out onto the field. Now, if they do put Kadabra onto the field, it needs 3 energy to be able to do damage, so it won't be able to get anything off. But they do have that Teleport for Abra, and it looks like they may be playing that so they can get Abra back to the bench. So it looks like they're going to want to set up Abra, evolve it into Kadabra, get it into that Alakazam, and get that Magic Show going. Although it is actually the Magic Show that's their third deck that we will see in the next game as a Hitmonchan being pulled out for the Melee Rumbles. It is Primate though that Mankey has been evolved into. It will be doing 50 damage as well with just that 1 energy on it, so they can set up that second Mankey on the bench. However, unfortunately, it's only 50 damage, so Ghastly can still hang on here, which is fantastic for the Olivia Constrictors because they can evolve that Ghastly, but they can also start setting up this Kadabra. They will be able to get it to an Alakazam very, very soon, but that Haunter gets a little bit more health onto the Olivia Constrictor's Ghastly, but still, Primate will be able to finish it off in the next turn here. But they've got their second Psychic Energy onto Kadabra, Pokemon Flute being taken out for the Melee Rumbles, Sandshrew being set up. Those Poke Flutes great with Hitmonlee trying to get basic Pokemon back onto the bench, but here's that punch from Primate that is going to finish off Haunter, so that first point does go to the Melee Rumbles in Game 2 of this best of 3 series. And again, the Olivia Constrictors do not want to lose this in straight sets, but if they do, that third game will still count towards the leaderboard, so they'll still want to get as many points on the board and as much damage as possible as they get their second Abra out of the deck as well. They're setting up that Alakazam now, 1 more energy, and it will be able to unleash this Psychic, and it will be doing 90 damage, extra 30 damage for the energy card onto Primate, but another 20 damage for it being weak to Psychic type moves. So the Olivia Constrictors have set up their Alakazam prepped and ready to go to start doing what Golem did to the Constrictors in Game 1. It is looking to run through the Melee Rumbles full combat deck. And as the Rumbles choose to send out their Mythical Island Mankey, they have pulled a Sandslash from their deck, so they are going to be able to set that up. It takes 2 energy, they've already got 1 on it, and they are prepping it here now, but unfortunately, Mankey might be able to get 50 damage. Actually, this is really crucial. They need these heads, and they get the tails. That is not good, because if Mankey had been able to get that 50, they could have come in and finished it off with the Sandslash, but this is going to allow Alakazam to just run through this Mankey here as they start setting up their second Kadabra on the back line here on that bench. Psychic from Alakazam, another 110 damage being done to the Melemele Rumbles, and this game too looks like it is going to be the Levere Constrictors to take, because even with them sending Sand Slash out here, it has those 2 energy on it, which is terrible because that means there will be an additional 30 damage being performed by Alakazam onto that poor Sand Slash there. Sand Slash will be able to get off 70 damage, which is great to be tabulated for their total damage, but again, the Levere Constrictors have got this game too all sewn up here, because Alakazam is going to run through this unfortunate Sand Slash, and we will be going to a game 3 very soon. But they're still setting up that Alakazam. Clearly the Levere Constrictors being extra cautious, but there is 120 damage. Sand Slash has been taken out. That's the 3rd point for the Levere Constrictors here in game 2 that they will take. And with a quick reset, we are going to go to that game 3, but as we said, it's the Battler's Spirit deck from the Melemele Rumbles, as the Levere Constrictors will be going first with that Magic Show deck, flipping heads there. So they are going to want to look to set up that Florges, but they've got the Drowsy and they've got the Hypno in hand, the Drowsy going into the active spot. But the Melemele Rumbles have the Machoke, Machamp already in hand, but they've got that Cubone, so they're thinking about what to do, whether or not they want to put out that Machop or they want to put out the Cubone. Looks like they're setting up that Machop to go into the active spot, knowing that it won't be able to take any damage from that Drowsy for some time here, as it requires 2 energy to do damage, and they are going first, so they cannot put any energy onto it right now, which is great for the Melemele Rumbles. It will buy them a little bit of extra time. In fact, they should actually be able to get that Machoke online. But again, they don't know that the Hypno is in the Levere Constrictor's hands, as the Flabébé is taken out of the Levere Constrictor's deck. They've got 2 of them in hand who can also put that Machop to sleep. But even if they were to, still, Machop would be awoken as soon as it's evolved into a Machoke here. And they get their 2nd Machamp out of deck as well for the Melemele Rumbles. They're going to go straight to that Knuckle Punch onto the Drowsy, just getting in 20 damage here early on in game 3. But that, the Levere Constrictors do get their 2nd Drowsy out of hand, as they can place their 1st energy down here now. And they do have that Drowsy, who will be able to use that Sleep Pendulum ability, trying to put the active Machop to sleep. But will they put it onto their front Drowsy? They will. They want it to go to sleep right now. Again, they don't know that that Machoke is in hand. They're not trying to get any damage off. They just want Machop to go to sleep. They need to get the heads, and unfortunately they have got the tails, so it is irrelevant. This Hypno would be taking damage regardless, but it will be taking more damage than they realize, because that Machoke is surely coming online as the Marshadow is pulled out of deck for the Melemele Rumbles. That Machoke requiring this 2nd energy here. It will be doing 50 damage to Hypno, who has 100 damage, so 2 strikes here from this Machoke will take it off the field. So it gets that 1st one down, and again, even if they put Machoke to sleep, that Machamp is waiting in hand, as the Florges is taken out of the Levere Constrictor's deck. So that is in hand here. They do have that 2nd Flabébé in hand as well. But the Constrictors need to think about what they want to do. Are they willing to give up that Hypno, or are they going to get it back to the bench? It looks like they will. They've got that X speed in hand, so that will bring down the retreat cost. And they do play that. It will only take 1 energy now to get that Hypno out of the active spot, and they're choosing to put Drowsy in the active spot. I was half expecting them to put Flabébé there so that they could try and put that Machoke to sleep, but a good choice in the end, because Machoke is going to get evolved into this Machamp. It is online. It is about to do some massive damage to this Drowsy. That 100 damage, taking it off the field, and once again the Melemele Rumbles taking the 1st elimination in game 3 here. They have been doing really well with that Psychic type weakness, but it is Flabébé now who they have that can put the Machamp to sleep, and they'll need it to stay asleep as the Levere Constrictors take out the Jinx. Very great card. It will do more damage, similar to what Alakazam did, for each energy card attached, and Machamp is weak to Psychic type moves. That Hypnotic Gaze though is going to put Machamp to sleep. There is no coin flipping, but there is to check that, but there's the coin flip to see if it will wake up, and the Melemele Rumbles get the heads. So just like that, that Machamp is back awake. It is going to take out this Flabébé, but first, the Professor's Research getting that Giovanni and Marshadow for the Melemele Rumbles. They're starting to set up the Marshadow, sorry, that is on the bench, but that Seismic Toss, they're not going to use the Giovanni. They're clearly waiting to use that last bit of damage on whoever is put into that active spot next, but this is not good for the Levere Constrictors. Machamp is there with that 150 HP. It will withstand any attack that Jinx can do. Hypno though can try and put it to sleep. That will be the part they need the heads though from that sleep pendulum ability. Here it is. This is the moment of truth. This could save the Leviaconstrictor's game, but they get the tails. That is not it. That is not what they needed. The Psychic is going to do 110 to Machamp. It's still got 40 health. That is not good. The Leviaconstrictors have not gotten a single point in this last game. Machamp is going to use that Giovanni as well for that extra 10 damage that will count towards the leaderboard, and they are going to take this game 3 to get their first victory here in the PokeType League TCG. And just like that, the Leviaconstrictors unfortunately have been taken out, but a fantastic showing by the fighting types with both their rock ground and fighting type Pokemon. But they are second on our leaderboard. The Constrictors unfortunately go down into second last place. But with that said, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below what you thought the best card was. And if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe. But more importantly, always remember, send thanks, and I'll see you when you see me.